Welcome to Yin Yoga. So today, it's going to be mostly all about the hips. Sometimes that can aggravate the knees a little bit with what we're going to do today with Malasana Squat, dragons, half frog, and full frog. So be mindful of that. Always come out of something if it's no longer working for you, or if you just need to come out early, can't maintain form or good breath. Make sure you've got the appropriate props for support in place. So that might mean a few blankets. So I've got a base blanket here, just so you know, and I've already kind of set myself up. I've got a blanket here and a blanket here. I've got another one and a bolster cushion. And some people like to use blocks and dragons. So if that's you, you can have a couple of those standing by, and we will go ahead and get started. So finding a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Find a little bit of length from crown to tail, but not so rigid that you can't sit and breathe comfortable. So just a little bit of length. Thinking about ears, shoulders, and hips in alignment. Belly button in. We'll take a slight tuck in the chin. Good. So when you're ready, just start with that breath, breathing and expanding in through the nose. Maybe out through the nose or the mouth. Taking a few rounds to settle in. Softening anywhere that needs a little bit more softening. I have a personal tendency to grip in the hips here, so I'm often reminding myself to relax there. Good, and let's just do 2 rounds with a pause. So from here, take your inhale, expanding that rib cage. Pause at the top. Slowly release. We'll take that again. Big inhale and expand. Pause at the top. And slowly release. Good. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, get a nice side bend towards the left. Just really open up the side. Breathe into the side. Good. And then you choose your path. You can stay here. You can always come out. Some people like to maybe bend just a little bit deeper. Some people, like myself, like to open up a little bit more here. Maybe you'd rather have a little C-curve roll, forehead in the direction of the knee, but not touching. So find what works for you. Opening up to the ceiling is what works best for me today. So that's where I'm going to go. And then I'm going to lengthen and come back. Reaching up, taking it to the other side. Noticing now which side might be your tighter side or more open side. And then you choose your path. You can stay here, come out. You can side bend deeper. You can open to the ceiling, or taking that C-curve roll. And once again, opening to the ceiling works best for me today. So that's where I'm going to go. Good. And then when you're ready, find some length and come back to center. Big inhale and reach. Exhale, gentle rotation towards the left, or roll those shoulders back. Remember, twisting from length, looking a little bit behind you. Breathe and expand. And inhale and lift. Exhale, center. Inhale, exhale, taking it down. Rolling the shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind you. Breathe and expand. And then when you're ready, inhale and lift. Exhale, come to center. Good. So, and just a little bit of a preparation for a couple things we're going to do. Let's go into a few little windshield wipers here. So I'm just going to take my feet forward. Now, hip width apart or slightly wider. Taking hands behind you. Good. Now, I'm not collapsing through my back, so I'm nice and long here. My belly button is in. And I'm just going to let the knees come from one side to the other. Good. You can keep this gentle. If the full range of motion is okay, you can take it all the way over to one side and all the way to the other. Good. And just to give you another little different perspective here, when I say long, we don't want to collapse. We want to be supported. And that looks like this. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to go right into half frog to start. So you may not need as many props here. I usually still need a little bit of cushion on my knees, but we'll come onto the belly. And I'm just going to start on the right side because that's the side that's facing the camera right now. So I'm just going to pull that right knee up. And so think about the hip and the knee being in alignment here, and knee and ankle being in alignment. Your foot's going to turn out. Good. If you need some extra cushion under the pelvis here, you can take that. Arms can be forward. You can have them kind of out to the side. I'm going to make a little pillow with my hand here, and we'll be here for about a minute and a half. Good. So I did not give you an intention in the beginning. We're just going to go through a little bit of affirmations. Because affirmations, like intentions, mean different things to different people. So from here, maybe on this affirmation, I feel safe. I feel safe. Say that to yourself. Now breathing and expanding. The belly button is still in. So from here, when you're ready, carefully take that out of there. Good. Now I'm going to bring this, my left leg up on the side now that you've seen it on the right side. So when you bring it up, remember your hip and your knee are in alignment, and then your knee and your ankle are in alignment. Your toes are facing out away from you. Good. Take any little pelvic support here that you need, and it might be different from side to side. We'll be here for another minute and a half. Coming back to the affirmation, I feel safe. And then maybe taking that a step further. What do you feel safe from? Why do you feel safe? Different people will have different answers, and none of them are wrong. Reconnect with the breath. Breathe and expand if you can. Belly button is still in. Relax the face. And then from here, I'm just going to carefully let that leg come long and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Good. I'm going to take my hands under my shoulders, and carefully come up from here. So we're going to go into a deer pose variation. And I'm just going to start by having, so I've got my bolster in place here for a variation that we're going to do. So if you're familiar with Pilates and the Pilates Z, that's where you want to try to go. So I've got starting my right shin is coming out this way and my left leg is on top. If this is not a good position for you, then you can just kind of find one that does. And if you need to sit up a little higher to make it a little bit better for the hips, then take care of yourself there. So this is a deer pose variation that we're coming into. And on this first part, we're just going to kind of be here. And then, good. And then we'll have an eagle arm here to get into the upper body a little bit. And then the second half, I'll cue you to come to a twist and or a fold. So from here, good. My right leg is coming out here. Good. So I'm going to take my right arm on top. Good. You can hug yourself or you can wrap. Good. So again, I'm looking for a little bit of length, but not rigidity here. And my belly button is in and I'm breathing and expanding. So maybe this affirmation is, I am creative. Or if you're like, I have no creativity whatsoever, yes, you do. So maybe that's going back to, did you like to color when you were younger? That's creativity. Do you like to party plan? That's creativity. Good. And then from here, you choose. Do you want to stay where you are? Do you want to undo the arms? Do you want to take a rotation towards the left? Or with that rotation, do you want to take a fold? So be mindful as to how your hips and knees feel when you move here. I'm still expanding. Good. And then so from here, if you took the fold or the twist, we want to carefully come out of there and come back here. So we'll take this to the other side. So I'm just going to move this bolster over here. I'm going to carefully undo my legs, taking my feet back forward, hands behind, and just getting a gentle windshield wiper here again. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll take that deer pose variation to the other side. So now my right leg is going to be in front. My left leg is going to be the one to the side. Good. And again, if this doesn't work for you, just kind of find something that does. It's not a huge deal. There are days when I cannot do this Z position because my hips and or my knees just don't want to do it. But from here, arms are out to the side. Left arm's going to be on top this time. You can hug yourself. You can wrap yourself. I'm coming back to I am creative, or maybe I can move with fluidity and not rigidity. I can go with the flow. Breathe and expand. Good. And then when you're ready, you can stay here. You can undo the arms. You can rotate into that twist towards the right. You can stay there, or you can choose to fold in here. So twisting and folding won't be for everyone. Be mindful. These poses often feel very different on one side to the other, so be mindful of that as well. And then from here, carefully come up out of your fold or twist and come back to center. All right, so I'm just going to move this out of the way here for me for time being. Carefully come out of your deer legs, taking hands behind you. Get that windshield wiper again. And we're going to open up into one of my favorites. We're going to come into dragon. So from here, let me fix our time here just so that we're here long enough to make an impact. Good. So if you know that you were going to put your forearms on your blocks, go ahead and have those handy in front of you. Some of you may not need them, but I'm going to start here from all fours, and I'm going to start on my right side first. So I'm going to take my right foot forward, and then I'm just going to kind of rock back and forth here just for a moment. Just a little bit of a dynamic movement prep. Good. And then from here, coming back. So you can keep your hip, knee, and toe in alignment with each other, both hands on the inside of that foot. That's one way to do it. You can take it out wider. You can take hips, knees, and toes, not just the toes, but hips, knees, and toes, turning out away from the body, going into that external rotation. You can take forearms to the blocks. I'll do that here today, or the floor. Remember, you can always be up on your hands as well. Good. I'm going to make sure that that back knee is just a little bit more behind me. And then from here, we'll come into our dragon. So I'll give you another little option here in a moment, but just a few things. So remember, this is active. So the belly button stays in and connected. We're pressing the blocks or the floor away with the shoulders. So we don't want to collapse down in here. So we want to be lifted. You can always rock a little bit here if that feels good to you periodically. Good. Yeah, a little bit too far out. Good. So if it's okay for you and you would like to go there, you can roll onto the edge of this foot. That will not be appropriate for everyone, so be mindful of that. And maybe the affirmation here could be, I am open. I can imagine myself with more open hips, more open hamstrings, an open mind, an open heart. Come back to the breath. Breathe and expand. We'll take about 30 seconds left. Ten seconds. And there we go. So if you went onto the edge, carefully come back onto that foot. In the way that's best for you, bring that foot back in line with the hip. Good. And I'm just going to hinge back a little bit here and counter this for just a moment, finding a little bit of length in my torso. Good. And for whatever reason, I built up a little bit of heat with that one, so I'm going to shed a layer here. And then we will go right into the other side. So I'm just going to kind of turn around to the other side here, bringing my blocks with me. Good. So starting from the tabletop position, good. We're going to take your left foot forward. And again, before we come in there, I'm just going to kind of move forward and back here a little bit for a moment. Good. And then when you're ready, just kind of find where you need to be. So hands can start on the inside. I'm just going to move this knee back a little bit here. I'm going to bring this foot out a little bit wider. You can always leave it where it is. Hips, knees, and toes are welcome to turn out away from the body. Forearms can come to the floor or to a block. I'm actually going to take this to the floor on this side. And then whenever you're ready, find yours. So again, this is active. We're strong. The belly button is in. We're pressing the floor or the blocks away with our shoulders. And we're breathing and expanding. Again, so I am open. You can have more open hips, open mind, open heart. When you're ready, if you want to go there, if it's safe for you, you can roll onto the edge of that foot. If not, don't go there. About a minute left. 30 seconds. And there we are. So if you went onto the edge, we'll bring that foot down. Carefully come out of there in the way that's best for your body. And then again, I'm just going to kind of do a little counter move here, lengthening the spine a little bit. Good. When you're ready from here, we're going to carefully make our way belly down. And we're going to come into a little bit of extension. So we don't want to be here for too long. And then I'm going to give you some options here. So total, this is going to be 4 minutes, but I'm going to give you the option 2 minutes in Sphinx, 2 minutes in Seal, or you can do the full 4 minutes into the Sphinx pose. So you choose where you want to go there. But remember, for Sphinx, I'm going to take my legs about hip width apart here. You can always build up a little bit of support with a folded blanket under the hips. It's going to be right under the pelvic bone. Arms are going to come forward. Good. My belly button is going to be in, and then I'm going to press up, shoulders in their pockets. I'm going to shine my heart forward. I'm going to breathe and expand here. So you want to avoid collapsing here. So you want to be nice and strong. You can do some yes, no movements here with the neck if that would feel good to you. Maybe the affirmation, I am strong, is a good one for you. Is that mental toughness? Is that physical strength? Is that emotional strength? What does that mean to you? So remember, on these extensions, these back bends, if the low back feels like it's crunching, it's because it is crunching. We don't want to crunch. So if you need to come out of something sooner, please come out sooner. Don't take it into a deeper or more advanced pose if you can't master the basic. So as we come up on the halfway point, you have decisions to make. You can stay right where you are. You can choose to come out of here and rest for 2 minutes. Or those of you that are going to take this up into Seal, you can take it up into your Seal. Again, careful not to hang or to crunch into the low back. Careful not to hang into the shoulders. And I know I make this one easy, but I assure you it is not. Want your belly button to still stay in here, being supported. And I would recommend too, if you're up in Seal, keep a little micro bend in those elbows. Try not to lock them. We've got 1 final minute left. I am strong. How am I strong? Twenty seconds. And we've got that time. So from here, carefully coming out. Good. Let yourself do a little wiggle wiggle here. And then when you're ready, taking your hands under your shoulders, press back for a moment into a little child's pose. And from here, we're going to go right into our dangle. So let me come forward because I ran out of space here. We're going to come right into a dangle. So how you come onto your feet is all dependent on your body and what works for you. So the way that you're going to see me do this may not be the way that's best for you. So I'm just going to kind of come onto my feet here. Good, coming back, and then I'm going to press myself up. So if that's not the way that's best for you, you do the way that's best for you. And my feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart here, and I'm keeping a little micro bend in the knees. I don't want to walk them out. And then I'm just going to let myself dangle. If you need to have your hands on something, you can bring in a block here, but we'll be here for a couple minutes. Should feel good after that extension, especially if you went into seal. Expand into the sides of the body. Think about being in all four corners of the feet. So you're in the big toe and pinky toe mounds and the heel. What about I am courageous? Where do you find and get your courage? And then from here, good. Now, we've been here for a little bit, so be mindful when you come out of here. We're going to transition to the Malasana Squat here. Some of you are going to do this from a standing position, and that squat is deep. Some of you will need to come to standing a little bit, maybe in order to come to a wall or the back of a couch or a steady piece of furniture. Good. I'm going to bring in a block here. Good. Some of us are just going to take your feet wider. Hips, knees, and toes are going to turn out away from the body. Good. And then find your squat from here. Now, I'm going to bring in a block here to help me right under my tailbone. You can always use more than one block. You can use other props under there. But where you come, you want to be where your heels are grounded. And some people need a rolled up blanket or a wedge or something like that underneath there. But you want to be where heels are grounded. And you want to be where you can press evenly in big toe and pinky toe mounts. So you don't want to collapse on the inner arch. You still want this connection on the outside here. Good. And then from here, zipping up a little bit, we'll find our squat. Good, and I'm breathing. We're only here for a couple minutes. Good. Could you find your courage here? Courage with security that your feet and or props are supporting you here. So maybe I am supported. And again, as you become stronger and more proficient here, a little bit more open, maybe you don't need any props in this position, and that's great. Think about still zipping up from pubic bone to behind the navel. Belly button is still in. Good, and then from here, good. We'll carefully come out of here. So I went into the deeper squat. I'm going to take my hands forward. I'm getting back in my feet, and I'm just going to release out of here. I'm going to move this block out of the way. Good, and then in the way that is best for you, carefully take your knees back down. Good, and we're going to set up for frog pose. So some of you, it is a better idea if you come back to the half frog that we did in the beginning of the class. Well, one leg at a time. So if you're doing that, and because some of us are going to head turn as well, I'll cue you halfway, and then you'll make that change then. Others are going to take this into the full. So for me, I'm going to take my bolster in front because I don't know if I'll need that or not. I'll leave that there as well. Good. So we're going to do this one for 4 minutes. And I'm going to start this one by coming to all fours. Now, I know I'm going to need some support, so I'm going to pull this in here. Good. So from here, think about, again, your hip and your knee are going to be in alignment. Knee and ankle are going to be in alignment. I'm going to go ahead and turn my feet out a little bit here. So then when I slide my knees out to the side, then they are in the good position. Now, different things for different people. If this starts to feel too comfortable, you should not feel like you could go to sleep here. Hips sometimes are too far forward. If you make that little adjustment of taking it back a little bit, you usually figure out that that is the best alignment. So I'm going to take my arms out here. I'm going to take my head in this direction. So we'll be like this for 2 minutes. At the halfway point, you can change out your legs or switch your head around here. And again, this is one of those, as you become more open, you may not need a big bolster cushion. Think about relaxing through the hips. Good. We're about 15 seconds away from the true halfway point. So for me, my body's opening up. So I'm not going to need this big bolster here for the last part. So I'm going to bring in a lower prop with this folded blanket and making sure I'm supported. Good. Now, from the halfway point, if you need to change a leg, change the head around to the other side, find that. Good. 1 minute left. Good. And then from here, based on where you went, so for me, I'm just going to take one leg at a time long here. I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to move this blanket out from underneath me. And I'm just going to be here for a moment with my legs about as wide as my mat. And I'm just going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Whew. I haven't been deep in that frog in a while. Not since my surgery, anyway. Good. So when you're ready to transition, we'll take that transition and we're going to transition onto our backs here for some supine work. So however you need to get there that's best for your body is the way that I recommend that you get there. Good. And then once you get there, just take your knees into your chest for a moment. Just rock side to side. Okay. From here, I'm going to take my left leg long, or you can put a bend in it. We're going to do one little stretchy, and then we're going to come into a twist. So I'm going to take my right leg towards the ceiling. I'm going to take my hands behind that leg, and I'm going to let them travel up as high as they can go. And you might not be able to get as high as me, and that's okay. But I'm going to give a gentle tug in, and then I'm going to point and flex this foot. Maybe the affirmation of I can release. What can you release? Is that physical tension? Is that some emotional tension? Is it just letting go of something that needs to be let go of because it's no longer serving its purpose? Good. And then from here, we'll carefully release. Good. I'm going to take this leg to tabletop. I'm going to take my other leg up to tabletop. So hips are over the knees, shins are parallel to the floor, arms are to the side. I'm going to take this twist to the right, to the left, because the left is the direction of the camera. Good. And then I want to try and keep my right shoulder grounded, and then maybe I can look to the right, and we'll breathe and expand here. Good. From here, head will come back to center. One leg at a time, coming back to center. And just bring the knees back in and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Good. So same thing on the other side. Your right leg can come long, or you can put a little bend in it. Taking your hands behind that left leg, letting it travel up as high as it can go. Maybe pointing and flexing through that foot. As you come back to what can I release? When you release something, how can you expand? How can you open and expand? Good. And then from here, we'll release there. That leg will come into tabletop. The other leg will come into tabletop. Arms out to the side. Big inhale, exhale. Knees will really come over to the right this time. Trying to keep left shoulder grounded, maybe looking to the left. Breathe and expand. Taking head back to center, one leg at a time, back to center. Bringing the knees in, taking a little wiggle, wiggle here. And we're going to set ourselves up for Shavasana. So I am going to reach behind me and grab this bolster because I want my bolster in my Shavasana today. So because you have the luxury of being at home, you've got the options of lots of props to bring into your Shavasana if you would like. And then I'm going to bring in my other folded blanket here. And I'm just going to let it come right across my pelvis here for just a little bit more grounding. And then once you find where you want to be in your Shavasana, which can also be on your side or on your belly, where you're comfortable, could you make yourself about 10% more comfortable? And I'll leave you here to settle in, sinking into the heart space for a few moments. Taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of the fingers and the toes. Choose stillness or maybe inviting knees to come into the chest. Choosing to keep the upper body grounded, or maybe tucking the chin and lifting the upper body into a full body hug. And choosing stillness, removing any other remaining props out of the way, extending legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and really reach and lengthen. Find that full body stretch. Point and flex through the feet. Bend and stretch through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that's best for your body in this moment. Taking all the time you need here to pause, maybe some reflection. When you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you, maybe the same one you started with, maybe a different one. Good. And for a moment, find a little bit of length in that spine. Notice how you feel. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands in heart center. Reconnecting with any of the affirmations that we went through today. I'll leave you with one more. I am loved. I am special. We are all special. We're all loved. We'll take the thumbs to the forehead for good and true thoughts, to our lips for good and kind words, and to our hearts for open and loving hearts, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. May you have a wonderful day, evening, week, month ahead. Namaste.